أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربكم أعلم بما في نفوسكم إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا وآت ذا القربى حقه والمسكين وابن السبيل ولا تبذر تبذيرا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا وإما تعرضن عنهم ابتغاء رحمة من ربك ترجوها فقل لهم قولا ميسورا ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط فتقعد ملوما محسورا إن ربك يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر إنه كان بعباده خبيرا بصيرا صدق الله العظيم.
MashaAllah. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm not used to doing this, yeah. Just to introduce Shaykh Hasan Ali. MashaAllah, some of you probably seen his videos online, etc. He's a popular preacher and Imam based in London. He's the founder of Safar Academy and holds a master's degree in education and psychology in addition to Islamic training. And also the madrasa here, we also use his Safar publications to teach the children. So inshallah, this talk will be beneficial inshallah for everyone that's got children, and inshallah who will have children in the future inshallah. If I feel, let's see how it goes. Them to send them. Could I just request the brothers to come towards the middle, please, wherever you're sitting. Come towards the middle. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. صدق الله العظيم. My dear respected brothers and sisters who are listening, firstly to all of you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah Azza wa Jal make this short moment a beneficial moment for all of us, and for us to understand and go through what Allah has given us as a responsibility in terms of us being parents and in terms of us having children. Times have changed.
And the times that were there, maybe when this masjid was built, those times have totally changed. The same. Founders of this masjid, the people who built this masjid, what they found the UK as, when they came from Pakistan, when they came from those countries, Afghanistan, wherever they came from, India and so on, the situation of those countries over there, the Muslim countries, the situation over here was totally different. Now today we are facing a total different UK, a total different Britain, a total different world. In fact, so much has changed that sometimes it's very difficult to even catch up with what is going on. Like with the latest revolution with AI, with artificial intelligence that is going, that has come out. So much happening in at such a rapid speed, it's really difficult for one to even stay in tune and in connection, even after reading so much out there of what's happening. Because AI revolution is something, it's artificial intelligence, it's computers that are super powerful, more than the human mind, that are making algorithms, that are making ways out there that is beyond what one human can ever do. Even if the human was to get like 100 lives, that one computer could reach that with probably a few minutes perhaps. It wouldn't take it that long to learn something, maybe an hour, maybe a day or something. You would learn so much that you wouldn't be able to learn in about 100 years. Now all of this is affecting our world, it's affecting our children, it's affecting us, it's affecting the way we're going to live. And there's going to be massive changes in the next, we don't know, maybe next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Such changes that we would have never even comprehended that these changes would come about. Right now, as we speak, who would have ever thought, like, let's just go down 50 years ago, 40 years ago, who would have ever thought that? Just look at the mobile phone. Just look at the amount, what the mobile phone can do. When the mobile phone, okay, if we need it, but it's not just a phone, it's a computer. We're actually walking around with a computer. We're not walking around with a phone. To call it a phone is a name that it got from when it was, from the first phones that were there. It is a computer on a grand scale that we've got, just that little phone that we have in our hands, that smartphone that they call it. And just look at the power of that. Okay, there's a lot of good in that, but there's a lot of bad in that as well. We have to put the score straight where things are. And Allah Azza wa Jal revealed the ayah about alcohol in the Holy Quran. And they asked the Prophet ﷺ, they came to the Prophet ﷺ, and they saw what alcohol can do, what gambling does to people. At that time it was still halal for them to drink alcohol, to drink wine, to gamble. It was halal at that time. And they asked, they said, Messenger of Allah, what do you say about this? And straight away the Quran first said, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. And then Allah said, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِن نَفْعِهِمَا. That in this thing that is wine and gambling, there is a great sin. Its sin overweighs its benefits. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِن نَفْعِهِمَا. Sin, the sinful nature that can come from this, from alcohol, from gambling, is greater than the benefits that you can get from wine and from gambling. Now Allah didn't just say, okay, it's all wrong, and say straight away, okay, fine. Later on the ayats came down to say stay away from alcohol, stay away from gambling. All that became haram later on, okay? So nobody walk off now and think that, okay, there's some benefit in that, let me go and try some. But the thing is, Allah is telling us that look at something, observe it, analyze it, look at the outcomes of it. Ithmuhuma, meaning that there's sin involved. Look at the outcome of the sin. Look at what it does to people when they get drunk, when they lose their senses, When they start gambling so much, and then after that they've lost their monies, they've lost their financial stability, and then they're gambling away their homes, they're gambling away their assets, they're gambling away what they have. Okay, that's the level it can get people to. But there's also benefit, which is when you gamble, you can win a lot of money. Allah is not denying that. But when you look at both, you have to be aware that the sinning element is more dangerous than the benefits that you can get from one of these. Same way the phones that we've got in our hands, there is a sinful nature in those phones. There is an element of what those phones can do to you in terms of addiction. There's an element of what those phones can do in terms of taking your whole mind into those phones, like enslaving you basically. You think you're a free man, you're a free woman, but there's a question: are you free? Because if you have to, every few minutes, you have to click again that Instagram and see who liked your last post. You have to see who gave you that thumbs up on TikTok, who gave you the thing on Snapchat, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, or whatever. If you have to do that every few minutes, every time you pick up the phone, quickly, let me check, who sent me a message, who's liked it, who's giving me a thumbs up, you're now enslaved. The master is the phone and you're the slave, because it's actually driving you in a certain direction. Not only that, family life, parenthood, childhood, children and their links with their parents, and all has been affected by this phone. It actually is the device that can separate a father from a son, separate a mother from a daughter, separate you from your iman, from your belief. Let's be honest about it. It has got the potential to do that. Yes, there's benefit in that. There's a lot of benefit in the smartphones. Don't get me wrong. You can do all your work on the phone. You can browse through so much good stuff on the internet and get a lot of good information from the phones. You can use it for everyday things that have made your life a lot more easier. You can navigate with that phone right now. You can use it as a calculator. You can use it as note-taking. You can use it as, there's a lot of benefits, don't get me wrong. But there is also the sinful nature. That same internet has got access to children seeing all sorts of things that you would never allow your child. You would never take them to those places and allow your son or your daughter to see those things, but they can see it through those smartphones. Now that's just the smartphone that came in the last sort of 20-something years, right? Last 20 years, 20 odd years, we've kind of had the smartphone, and it's got, even in those 20 years, subhanAllah, in the last 15 years, the amount of advancement the phone has done is very different from what it was before that. But now we are stepping into another world, which is the AI world. And there are things that are happening with development of software, development of technology, which is beyond our belief within this one lifetime that we will see. There are already out there self-driving cars. Okay? You just like you will order something, you order as in California, in other parts of the world, they're testing this out. So you've got self-driving cars, right? So you basically book like an Uber, you book it on your phone, the car will come right in front of your house, there's no driver in there, absolutely no driver in there. You get inside there and it will automatically take you to your destination. With so many cameras that are around it to try and, navigate through the streets, through other cars, make sure there's no accidents, whatever. It's already there now. Imagine there are already games. The games that we've got, the console games or other things. If you go like so many years back, mashallah, alhamdulillah, when I was young, the games had to literally be played in real time outside with real people, which I think were the best days. Right? Because you got physically fit, you socialized, you interacted, you had your goods and bads there, but alhamdulillah, end of the day, I think, if you made friends, you saw people in real time, we had a lot of values that were instilled in us just the way we grew up. I'm talking about in the 80s. I'm talking about 70s, 80s. When we grew up, it was a very different world. You literally just went outside, found kids, played football outside there, played cricket outside there. You probably took a pram. You know, you found an old tram somewhere, you took the four wheels off, you put some planks of wood on there, it became a go-kart, right? You know, kids just played like that on the streets. And you know, when you came home, you interacted with your parents straight up. You interacted with one another. There's a lot of values that were instilled in those, you know, in that upbringing. Today, all of that is gone. Kids don't want to go outside and play anymore. You give them those, you know, you give them opportunities. You have to now start pushing them to go out there and play a physical game with their friends. It's literally like you talk about 20, 30 years ago, a young boy, you ask a young boy, like an opportunity to play football outside there with his friends, when it was one of the top things on the list. Let me go outside there, let me play football. Right now, they want to play FIFA online with the joystick in their hands, and even then, they've got so much choice. Now that choice that they've got, subhanallah, la ilaha illallah, and la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, the choice has created so much more problems in the kids that we're rearing right now, my kids, your kids, right? That choice, that level of the amount of choice that they've got has actually spoiled them to another level. Why? Because the more choice you have, the more spoiled you become. The more choice you have, the more spoiled you are. The more choice you have, the less sabr you have, less patience you have. Because you just, imagine, they're sitting there, they're flicking through this channel, that thing now. They're not even flicking through TV. I mean, that's gone now. TV is gone. It's all the tablet and the smartphone right now. They will flick through TikTok videos, YouTube videos, you know, other videos that are there. They'll flick through them, and it's a choice. They are choosing what to watch, and they can stop where they want to stop and see what they want to see. Now, there's a whole nother thing I want to talk to you about, the contents of what they're probably watching, but just the fact that they've got this choice. You know what it does? The level of tolerance they have, the level of sabr they have, the level of being able to sit there and to wait patiently for something, that is almost vanished. That's almost gone. We have to keep them entertained all the time. And if you're a parent and you're thinking, well, that's my grandchild or that's my child there, well, we've already gone wrong. We've already crossed the line. We've already spoiled them. We've already got damage coming ahead. Now let me tell you what the damage is. The damage is they are constantly after something that's going to give them that, you know, that next thing that give them next inspiration. They're constantly after that. You sit them down in a car without a device, they're bored. Now you're thinking, well, this is fine. You know, they're a little bit bored in the car. No, the problem is when they grow up. As they're growing up, they are constantly dissatisfied with life. And they're finding the most important things that we've got as the least important things in their lives. So for example, we know you have to study, right? You have to study to get somewhere in life. And the better you study at early life, the better you're going to be when you grow up. That becomes the most most burdensome thing they've got. To sit there, to open a book and to read a book, to move your eyes, to make your brain actually think. Because if you look at all these devices, they do all the thinking for you. If they will sit there and watch a video, even if it's an educational video, right, you might think, well, get a pad, give them education videos or something, which is fine. It's like a get-do kind of thing. But if that's the only thing they have and you've got no books there and you've got nothing for them to study, what's happening is the video is actually giving them everything. The video explains everything. The video gives them the what they want to see. It gives them the visuals, gives them the audio, gives them the information, presents it to them on a plate. Okay, there's not much they have to do. Even then, you know what the brain says? The brain says, I've watched that. So what? They don't remember stuff. Why? Because when anything you struggle with, it becomes yours. It's something that you keep. Anything you have for free, you have no value for it. Whatever you get for free, people don't have no value for it. Right now, you know the water in this country? Pretty much nobody really values it. You know, we have water. Nobody even thinks about it. It's the most expensive thing in the world. Some of you looking at me, no, Shaykh, the most expensive thing is gold and it's some other thing out there and that's expensive. No. The most expensive thing you've got is water. One of the most expensive things. You go to a region where the water is diminishing, where the water is scarce, then you find out what the price of that water is and how important that water is. Anyway, the value of things, they depreciate the moment they become widely available, and something that is free for you, you lose the value for it. For these children, for them to have information, for them to have all these, the choice that they've got, the amount that they've got, they've got no worth for any of this. We've got now, libraries have shut from some time ago. People are, they moved a lot of libraries from the physical libraries to the online libraries, but people are not even reading that. Today you can have a click of a button. On a click of a button, you can get all the ahadith. All the ahadith, these are like tens and tens and tens and tens of books. These are thousands and hundreds of thousands of ahadith at the fingertip. But you know what? Today, the readership of ahadith is the lowest you'd ever probably have in the whole history of 1400 years of Islam. It's the lowest ever. People don't read. People might search a hadith somewhere, but they're not going through an archive of hadith. There was a time when people would actually go through the entire hadith collection. And still people do it today, but not as much as what it was before. Today you've got on your fingertip the whole Quran, the translation of the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran. But let's be honest, how many people are reading it? And why is that? Because there's too much choice in our lives. And people are so busy, they can't get enough done. And sometimes it's laughable that we can't get enough done. When we're on our phones for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours a day, the question is, what are we doing on those phones? And this is on a parental level. What is it doing on a children level? Because at least these parents, the parents that are looking at the smartphone, at least at some point in their life, they never had phones. And they still were reading. And they, at least the parents we're talking about right now, at least they've done they've done their struggles in life. You know what they say? They say, the more struggles you have in life at a young age, the more easier your life becomes at an older age, at a mature age. The less struggles you have at a younger age, the more difficult your life will be at a later age. But these are parents we're talking about, with them having some form of, some basis. What about these kids? The children that we're raising, they haven't gone through the tarbiyah and the nurturing that we've gone through. They haven't gone through that. Now, what is it that I'm getting to? What I'm getting to is, all parents, try and hold on to all the natural, old school techniques we've had when we were basically growing up. Hold on to those methods of bringing children up. Hold on to those methods. Because the new era that we've got, there's a lack of discipline in kids. There's a lack of respect in kids. There's a lack of appreciation in kids. And all of these things have happened because of the amount of choice and the amount of ease we've made it for children. You know this whole new generation, for last 15, 20 years, you know what they're doing? They're making everything easy and super easy for kids. And super leniency for kids. And we have to understand, we've been living in a liberal democracy for the last however many years. Right? We don't, when I say liberal democracy, I mean, you look at all the Western world. Most of the Western world have been living in a liberal democracy. What does that mean? That means they are more left than they are right. Now there's no wonder world in the right, and there's no wonder world in the left. The best is the middle. Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us as Muslims the middle path. Everything we've got is the middle path, and you really got to understand it. La ilaha illallah. Over time, you can see when they move to the right or they move to the left, they kind of always swing about, but in the end, if they hit the middle, then that's the best. So what am I trying to get to? The liberal democracy and liberal life and the easy life and the super sort of, relaxed life and leniency life and make everything easy for everyone and, just be very, very sort of, allow everyone to have whatever choices they've got. Allow them to be, allow them to have their choice, allow them to become who they want to be. You know all of that? That is the poison that is killing a lot without us realizing it. What do I mean by poison? Okay, fine. On the one hand, it is good. You get your choice. On the one hand, you can do what you want. But on the other hand, if any human is given a choice in anywhere they go, wherever they go, we know for a fact that choice will lead you to a lot of, it's going to lead you to a lot of problems. In fact, it could lead you to becoming severely, hurt, or you could even cause your own death. So let's give an example. When we drive, how much choice do you have? When you drive on the roads, how much choice do you have in terms of the speed limit, in terms of how you drive that car? You don't have much choice. The rules out there are very clear. How fast you go, how you drive, how you basically come in front of other drivers, whatever the rules are, there's not much choice there. Any part of life you look out there, there's not much choice. There are rules and regulations. That's how society runs. But within our own world that we found ourselves in, these kids are given a full choice to be whoever they want. You can't do that anywhere. Look at an office. Let's just go to an office. I'm talking about the very people of this society who have made these rules, don't even follow those rules in all departments of their lives. So let's look at the office. You can't go to an office. Let's say you got an office job, right? And what's the dress code? The dress code is you wear a suit. You wear a suit to work. That's the dress code. You can't go inside there with a tracksuit. You can't go inside there with some pajamas. You're laughing right now, I see you, right? You can't walk inside there with some shorts. You're like, what are you doing? Where's your choice? Well, you don't have much choice here. You don't have a choice to say to your boss, oh boss, today I'm supposed to start at 9 o'clock, but you know what? I'm going to come in at 11 o'clock. I'm going to come in at 10 o'clock. Or you know what, the job you've given me, you got no way of telling your boss that, why don't you give me this other job? This is too much. You can't do that. You'll be fired. There's not much of a choice. That's the real world that still exists. Right? Now you imagine these kids, when they grow up and they've been told in schools, be who you want, do what you want, have all the freedom you want, all the choice you want. Yeah, go out there, enjoy yourselves. And they do that. And they have all this freedom and all this movement. Yeah, right? Do what you want with your teachers, even be rude to your teachers now and again. Do what you want in terms of, out there breaking rules. Yeah, I'm under 16, I'm under 18, nothing's going to happen to me if I do all of this. And the system allows it, system allows it, right? You see these kids, when they break rules, when they commit crimes, right? It's juvenile crime. We're not talking about anything serious, but just breaking rules out there, okay? On the streets, raising their voice, shouting at someone, swearing at someone, take a video, call a prank, do whatever they want out there, right? But they're still under 16, they're still under 18, and what the law here allows them to do is allows them to be. Suddenly they're 18, it's like, hey, you got to be serious in life right now. What? That kid just turns to 18, and now you want him to suddenly be serious in life, suddenly be civilized in life, suddenly be, someone who can follow all laws and be someone serious and with all the patience and be able to follow all rules wherever he goes. Well, there's something serious wrong with the system. This is a wrong thing with our system. It's funny. You go to most of these other countries, and we don't have the same problem with our kids. This kind of a whole thing about kids, just lazing around, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to learn. You have to push them to learn. You have to push them to get things, and the kids are not listening to you. All they want to do is have a tablet, smartphone, have YouTube, have some games to play, just sit there and that's all they want to do. You go to Pakistan right now, you go to Bangladesh right now, you go to any of these other countries, you go to Somalia right now, kids ain't doing that. The kids, they're not doing that. Young kids, they're disciplined, they listen, they're in a society, They don't break that many rules. Okay, there's a little bit of mischief in kids, no problem. But it's normal, it's a normal level. They have, they have that, those, inside them, they have the eagerness to learn. They have the aspiration to do something at a young age. So when you have those kids growing up in those societies at 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're disciplined, and they're listening, and they're told off, and they're taking the telling off, and they're basically following suit, and they're following the rules of the society, and then they grow up to become 16 or 18. Forget 16 or 18. I can tell you those kids are already adults at the age of 12. You go and see them. You interact with them. See how mature they are at the age of 11, 12. They're already mature. They're already disciplined like adults. And you look at our 11-year-olds, they're like 6-year-olds or 5-year-olds. Worse, they look like, what is this I'm dealing with, man? A big, huge human being that doesn't have all the discipline in life. And then this liberal democracy expects us to suddenly have our children all disciplined and all following all the rules out there from the age of 18. Like we say, don't break any rules out there. Come on, man. I mean, look at the transition and what we've created. Now, the thing is, we've got a big duty in our hands because we're still Muslims. And we've got a bigger scenario here. We haven't just got this dunya. We've got the akhirah as well. We've got to make sure that our kids don't lose their iman, they don't lose their faith. And not only that, our kids, they value the things, the tradition that we have, they value the Quran, they value the learning of the deen, they become someone who's actually disciplined in the way of Islam. So we've got that duty in us as well. It's a double, sort of duty that we've got. Now, how do we navigate through all of that? Well, let me tell you, my friends, one thing is we better be aware of the system around us, and we better do our absolute best to give every inch and every moment of Islamic tarbiyah and Islamic learning and Islamic nurturing as much as we can to these kids. While they still have these devices around them, while they still have this world developing around them, we still are there for them to take them through all of this, which means there's a lot on us to do as parents. We can't just leave them to these devices and just leave them to that world out there because it's going to eat them up. Already kids, there's been a big effect on kids from the time of COVID. COVID, la ilaha illallah, hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that was another big shaitan that came along. I don't know what it was. Even now they've got a lot of, now we can talk about it a little bit because they've got all these investigations going around from the governments to the parliaments to whoever, to all the pharmaceutical companies and whatever they did. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, they made their monies, they got away with it. There's nothing that you could do with them because they signed everything off, right? They basically, you can't do anything to them. But it's now they're having investigations in how government dealt with all the COVID and so on. I don't know if you realize, but COVID basically brought some parents who were already having problems with each other, suddenly they found each other living in the same space, can't go out of the house, can't even move away from the house, like for like 2 years. It's like, I can't, these parents who were already, husband and wives who were already arguing with one another, it went through the roof. There's a lot of divorces that came out from just the COVID period because, you've just caged in these people who are otherwise away from each other for about 8 hours of the day. Anyway, that's the parents. The kids, what happened to the kids is, and there's a lot of studies coming out from this, there's a lot of imbalance that was created in the kids. The kids got a lot of screen time during COVID, much more than they would have ever had. And that has almost given those children, made them like, the online world is almost like a living world that they want to just be there. They want to just stay there. Online world becomes, for many of these kids, when they spend a lot of time on the online world, that becomes like the real world and this becomes the false world. It's very unfortunate, but that's how they see it. They'll be more happy, and when I say happy, I mean happy, they think they're going to be happy by spending so much time in the online world. But what actually happens is you get depressed after a while when you spend time in the online world. You actually get depressed. There's a lot of celebrities that have become depressed. There's celebrities that psychologists have told me. These are celebrities with millions of followers. Millions of followers. Psychologists have told them, your only remedy to get better is to get off social media. This is the number one thing they tell. We were talking about A-star celebrities in their world. We're talking about celebrities from the film industry. We're talking about celebrities who are constantly in front of the TV, constantly they're being watched by people. Millions and millions of videos of their, I'm talking about video watching of the clicks and so on across the world. And they've been told, the one thing you have to do is switch off from social media. They've actually told them, look, you've got to now go through a phase where you keep away from the phone. So they give them like, stay away from it for a few hours, then stay away from it a day, stay away from it for 2 days, for 3 days. Then they actually build them up to 4 months, 6 months, 1 year. Total switch off from the smartphone. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Just leave it, completely go off it. We're talking about people who have built their careers on social media, built their careers on, popularity and seeing people, and what happened to them? Well, it's intoxicating, but it's also depressing. Why is it depressing? Well, it's depressing because you're not really dealing with any real human beings. You think about it, the phones, I don't know how many of you are on, these phones and using them for social media, other things, or watching videos and so on. But what happens is, people watch these things. But one of the things that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us is that we actually feel a lot better when we interact with real human beings. That's the nature of human beings. When you're with a real human being and you interact with them, you feel a lot better than when you're interacting with someone online. Now, the other thing about online is, all those people online, if someone's liking you online, if somebody is, following your like, thumbs up, whatever, and they're giving you the, they're giving the praise, whatever, then they're not doing it for you. They're doing it for themselves. You might think I'm mad. I'm not mad. When I travel and I go to places and now people want to take selfies with me. Okay, brother wants to take a selfie, he takes a selfie with me. I'm not really into that. I'm not going to go, yeah, come on, let's take a selfie. Come on, brother, let's take it. But he wants one. And he's dying to get he's coming up to me and says, Imam Sahib, Shaykh Sahib, please, can I have a selfie with you? You know what he's doing that? He's doing that for him, not for me. He's doing that for himself. Because he's going to take that photo. He's going to show it to all his mates. He's going to say, look who I was next to. Look where I was. And why is he doing that? Because there are people out there who at the moment got some perception of me, or whoever it might be they're taking a selfie with. They've got a perception. But once that perception dies, they're after the next thing. They're not after that person. If tomorrow I was to die, they wouldn't care about me. Tomorrow, if something was to happen to me, may Allah forbid, may Allah protect me, may Allah protect all of you, say Ameen. If something was to happen, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care at all. What were they after? They were after their own fame in their own little world, with all their own people that are going to tell them, oh wow, yeah, you was there, wow. That's why people take selfies. Why are they taking selfies on holidays and buildings and all this? Because it's about me. The whole thing about this phone is all about me. And it's one of the biggest diseases that started from the creation of human being. Because that's the fallout of Iblis and Adam alayhi salam. That's the fallout. What was Iblis's words that threw him away from Jannah? Banished him from the ranks of the angels. Made him someone unworthy in the sight of Allah. Made him a Jahannami, one who's going to hellfire if he doesn't turn back and ask forgiveness, seek forgiveness from Allah. What is that one thing? He said, Ana khayrun min. He said, I'm better than Adam. In front of Allah, in front of God, I am better than him. This me. Most of these kids and most of, us that are even adults who are engaging in all of this, it's about me. It's a beast. It's a beast inside us. How much you're going to feed the me? Because all he wants is he wants self-recognition. He wants self-respect. He wants acclamation. He wants others to look at me. Give me credit. Tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm beautiful. Tell me I'm intelligent. Tell me I'm great. Tell me I'm up there. Tell me I've got to this place and I'm going to be rated, right? Look at me. Look at my clothes. Look at my face. And this me is completely destroying the inside of the human being. To the extent, people now in many countries, I know in this country it hasn't kicked off big, but there are many countries out there, people are doing all sorts of surgeries to themselves, man. is crazy. You got a normal nose. There are countries out there that people want to shape their noses. And they'll pay a lot of money to have plastic surgery on their nose. They have fillers in their cheek, make the cheekbones look at us, more women than men, a lot more women than men. And just because they got the choice, they'll do that. Look what it's doing. This whole me thing. You change, you make your cheekbones look a bit higher. You change the shape of your nose. Then you want to work a little bit on your chin and your the shape of your chin. And then after that, they want to do everything like right down to the chest level. They want to change things there. They want to change things right behind and so on. And what happens after that is what? Does it actually make them feel any more happy? No. It makes them feel more depressed. Why? Because when you first did it, everyone was like, wow, wow, wow. And you're like, The same thing happens when you get likes on your phone. The same thing happens when people are following you. The same thing happens when people are saying, yeah, all that. You go, But the moment that stops, the amount of dopamine that you had in your head now turns negative. It turns into stress, automatically turns into stress. Why? Because the amount of pleasure you got in people looking at you and giving you thumbs up and saying, look at wow, and talking about you, the amount of uplifting you got, this moment they don't do that to you, you have to go down now. That's your whole psyche going down. That's you feeling down. That's you like, oh my God, what's wrong? How come people are not looking at me anymore? How come people aren't how come not being followed anymore? And the people go, honest, this is one of the biggest problems we've actually got in the Western world today. It's happening in the Eastern world as well, but more so in the Western world, which is people are now the biggest disease, or you could say the illness, the number one illness, more than diabetes, more than, this is real, guys, I'm not making this up. These are from studies. More than diabetes, more than the sugar level, more than heart attacks, more than strokes, more than cholesterol levels going up, more than every other, cancer, more than cancer, more than the number one things we think that kill people. You know what the number one illness is? It's depression. Stress, depression. People are depressed and they don't know what to do. The number one thing, they're depressed. They're feeling low, they're feeling low self-esteem. They feel no one loves me, no one cares about me, oh my God. I feel like taking them, if I could do this here, take them in a room somewhere where it's allowed, yeah? You know what I'm trying to say? Sort them out a little bit. If I was small and if I ever did that with my elders, my dad, my uncles, yeah? Oh my God, now one slap will sort everything out. One slap, everything will sort it out. You're like, the whole life is like clean, mashallah, sun's shining again. Nowadays you can't even touch kids. Okay, fine. Okay, we can't do that. So what is it? They've got low self-esteem. They feel no one's loving me, no one's caring about me. Then they have other behavioral problems. Where do you all come from? It came from those choices we gave, the freedom we gave, all that attention time they got from the devices and from them, making things easy for them and easy for them. Oh, do you want this? Are you okay there? Oh my God, you hurt a little bit. Oh my God, look at it. You know what that does? It makes them super soft. It makes them very, very vulnerable to a lot of hurt. If you see a kid and he banged his knee somewhere, and don't just go up to the kid, are you okay? Are you okay, but are you okay? Don't do that. Just say, it's fine, you banged your knee, so have I. It's life, man. So is everybody else. Maybe one person here, put your hands up if you've never banged your knee. Anyway, put your hands up. Come on, see? Put your hands up. If you never hit your elbow in the funny, the funny part there of the elbow, right? If you never did that, put your hands up. Put your hands up if you never hit your toe somewhere and your toe was aching and killing you. Put your hands up. Come on, nobody's putting their hands up. We've all done it, man. It's part of life. Why are you going to make it such a big drama? Oh my God, are you okay? Are you this, are you that? You make it so much soft cushion type of thing. You know what? That's how they become in life. And suddenly when they hit 18 or when they hit a certain age, we want them to become the men of society. We want them to become the women of society. Now life is serious. How are you going to suddenly transition them from that to this? Guys, what I'm trying to say is don't take it easy. Okay, fine. We don't want to make it like, don't lose the balance either. Don't make it too tough. Make it too tough, you've lost them. Make it too liberal, you've lost them. But one of the problems I'm saying is that me thing has created this. And in Islam, we've been taught to give preferences to others over myself. Ithar. To give preferences to others over myself. In Islam, we've been taught that you do things and you should stay away from riyā. Stay away from showing off. It's a sin. Showing off is a sin. In Islam, we've been taught pride, ujb, takabbur, kibr, arrogance, feeling mighty and proud is actually a sickness, an illness that you should get rid of. That's our teachings in Islam. So while we're going through all of this and they're getting the device or whatever they've got, we've got to make sure that they don't develop these illnesses inside them. Because then tomorrow, it's very hard to then take that sickness and illness out of the kids and to remedy, to find a remedy for it. It gets very tough. If anyone's got kids, the younger your kids are, the more of a better chance you have of making sure that they've got, that you can make your kids' lives better for the future. And guys, this is just the beginning. I mean, I was talking about the games, right? And I was saying that games, they had these games where, even the games that we're seeing right now, where they've got a screen in front of them and they've got their headset over their heads. La ilaha illallah, I mean, that's also going to disappear very soon. We've already got games coming out there where the entire body is going to be in something. Where they're moving and they're playing, but they're completely cut off from their immediate surrounding. And it's a next level of gaming where the whole, the hearing, the visuals, everything is taken in, like in a helmet, a headset, whatever it is, all right? To a level where, when you come out of that world, this world seems like very sort of boring. It seems like an archaic world. It seems like a world that is not the. Yes, you want to say something? Sorry, are you asking a question? Or you want to ask a question? Well, just give me a thing. So it seems like these kids have, or the people now, adults. A lot of adults are in it as well. In terms of gaming, in terms of watching something, in terms of just sitting there relaxing, and it's all fine if you're using some of this as entertainment. It's fine. When it comes to reality and life, we have to understand there are a lot more important things in life than what we can imagine. Mostly for us, it's the akhirah. Every day, what have I done for my akhirah? We know that the next life is coming. What have we prepared for ourselves for the next life? How well prepared am I? What have I sent today? Because Allah has said, وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Allah says, send something forward for yourself. Imagine, right, you are migrating from the UK to another country. Imagine, let's just say for a moment, somebody is migrating to Dubai and they're never going to come back to the UK ever again. Once they leave the UK, they're never going to come back ever again. Let's say you're going to Qatar, Dubai, Kuwait, or let's just say you're making that move, right? So now, your whole entire belongings that you've got in your house, everything, if you try and take it on the plane, you can't. You can't take everything. You can only take like 20 kg, 30 kg on the plane. So then you have to cargo, you have to send it by cargo. Now you have to prepare for this. If you're going to send your furniture by cargo, or you're going to send your most, relished items by cargo and your valuables, whatever, you have to prepare for this in advance. The cost of it, the time of it, for it to get over there. And then when you're over there in whichever country you're going to, then you probably find all those things there that you had, right? You can't just suddenly move. Let's say you're never coming back here. You got no other way of telling anyone to bring that stuff over. You got one chance to do it. That's exactly what's happening with the akhirah. We have to send enough things for the akhirah for me to be comfortable in my grave on the day of judgment and get to Jannah without going to Jahannam, without having any punishment of the grave. Now it's a massive task. It's not a small thing. Every day we have to send stuff, and we have to become serious with our deen. And in doing so, we have to make sure that it's not only us that's doing that, but our kids get that full tarbiyah and the full nurturing, so that they are also serious about the akhirah. So anyway, I'm going to open to Q&A. I think we've got about 15 minutes left. So brother, you've got a question, yes? Okay, so for the sister's sake, the brother is saying that it becomes very difficult sometimes to take them off these devices, to completely shut them off this, or it becomes an argument when you want to, get them to do other things and so on. So what do you actually do? The thing is, I'm not saying to completely eliminate all of these things from them. That's not what I'm saying. Because there's benefits in these things, right? Even the fact that, okay, they're playing games, you'd rather them playing games and be in front of your eyes than to nowadays for them to be out there on the streets. Sometimes, you don't know what they might be doing out there, right? But entertainment is entertainment. It's something that should be limited. Entertainment is a break. It's not your real life, right? The same with phones and devices and all of that. It's a world they get into which is temporary. It's not the real world. And we as parents have to make sure that balance stays as we go along. So one of my first things I'm going to say is, smartphone, don't give kids a smartphone. Especially if they're young. There is absolutely no way they should have a smartphone in their hands where they have got access to the entire world. World's, stuff. Some of it good, and some of it really seriously bad for them, for their iman, bad for their psyche, bad for their upbringing. You can't do that. You can't give them. And even if you did, you better make sure that you've got access to that phone. If they're a kid, you better make sure that you've got access to that phone, because they could end up being anyone they want, and tomorrow they might not be your children. Now that's one. Second is, if you're giving them tablets and devices and games and other things, then you make sure you're in control of how much time they spend on those things. You have to be in control. You have to have the time limits that you set, and they better abide by it. And yes, they are going to push your limits. They're going to try and get the extra time and extra, if dad's not there, mom's not there, get the extra time and keep on these devices, whatever. They're going to do that. But it's your thing to control them, because the moment they feel that, this is something which is so likable, so good, and they start to violate your rules, and they start to, they make an upset thing, and they get upset with you, and they start, changing their behavior towards you because you're not giving them enough time, and all that kind of stuff, right? And then, like you said, it turns to arguments, right? The moment that has happened, you're losing the reins. You as a parent need to question yourself. I had a parent come to me once. He said, my son plays 5 hours a day on the PlayStation, 5 hours a day, and I can't do anything about it. He has to have his 5 hours a day. What do I do? I'm like, how old is he? And he's like, he's 14, 15 years old. And I'm like, how long has he been doing this? And when you trace the history, it happened over a few years. But you allow them to play, and then you lose control over, how much they're playing and how much addiction they're getting from this. And there comes a point when you're the enemy number one for stopping them playing this. Things have changed now. The game ball has changed. What are you going to do? Well, the first problem is you're the one who messed up the whole situation. You're the actual person who messed it up. Okay, now we need to go back. So in going back, you need to curb it back. You can't just suddenly pull everything off. You need to curb it back, which means that if they are playing, like, let's just say, if they're playing 2 hours or whatever a day, they need to curb it back to a little bit less. Well, what I would do is have days that they're not playing. Have rules in your house where you say Monday to Friday, nothing you're going to play. Monday to Friday, all you do is you do all your homework, you do your schooling, you do your Quran, you do your whatever it is, okay? But, okay, Saturday, Sunday, I'll give you some limited time to play. And you stick to my hours of whatever I give you to play. You have to be in control. The moment you lose that, you've got a serious problem in the house. Because then you've got all sorts of behavioral problems that come from those kids. And then you're like, you're actually the victim then, right? You got a zalim an oppressor in your house, kids that shouts at you, kid that disrespects you, kid that talks to you like you're worth nothing. And because you're restricted to what you can do to that child, you have to then tiptoe around the child. And your life becomes difficult. And a lot of parents out there, they're facing this problem. Why? Because they allowed those limits to be crossed without any consequence. The moment you do that, I'm telling you, you're in big trouble. And you gotta turn the clock back. But if it's happened to you, you have to do it slowly. Slowly turn it back. Like if they're on 2 hours, then give them 1.5 hours. If they're on 1.5 hours, slowly bring it to 1 hour 15 minutes. If they're 1 hour 15 minutes, bring it back to 1 hour. Then bring it back to half an hour. Or just totally say, this day you're not going to play. That day you're not going to play. Another thing is, look, I'll tell you one thing, right? If you got any, like there are certain things that you can do by law, by everything, which is in your hands, which the government's not going to do anything about. They're going to be okay with it. Which is what? You can ban your kids from playing. Whatever period of time you want to ban them from playing, you can do that. You don't have to. There's no law saying you as a parent have to give PlayStation 5 for this many hours in a week to a kid, otherwise we're going to take you to prison. There's no such rule. You can take the phone away from your child, you can do it. But you better have both parents on the same page and no grandparents coming along and spoiling that. Because the moment one lenient person comes in and has a different rule, everything goes out the window. Because then the kid knows, I go to that lenient parent, lenient grandparent, lenient uncle, lenient brother, lenient sister to get what I want. And then you're back to square one. Then it's messed up. Doesn't matter how much as a father, how much as a mother, you do that, you got to make sure that the control zone, everyone follows it. Everyone follows the rules in the house. And you better have a good thing with good word with the grandparents, because some of the grandparents are like, we have the license to spoil our grandchildren. No, you don't. No, you don't. But we're about to die. So let me enjoy the last moments in spoiling my little grandchildren before I die. No, you don't have the right to do that. Why? Because when I was your kid, right? When I was your kid, let's say I'm talking to my father, respectfully, when I was your child, you disciplined me well. And alhamdulillah, whatever I'm today because of your discipline. Allow me now to discipline my child without any interference, because if I don't do that, you're creating a monster in my house. You're going to be in the grave and I've got to then deal with this monster. Such baat mein keh raha hu. People in the house need to make sure that they're all on the same plate. Like I've made it very clear. My sons, alhamdulillah, one of my sons is already married. I've made it very clear that when he has children, he's in charge of making sure that he looks out for his children. Now as a grandparent, I'm not going to do anything that breaks those rules. No way. It's his time. Those kids need to grow up with their own set of tarbiyah. I can be a nice grandfather, fine, when I do become a grandfather, but it's not like I need to now spoil it for somebody else. No way. It's an imbalance that you create. Sorry, do you have any question from sisters? Or any other brothers while he's checking? Yes, go on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you now. He's saying, what about the parents that are addicted to their phones? That is a serious problem. But that is also true. That is happening. That is in place. Some places of the world, seriously, kids are actually partly depressed because of their parents. Partly depressed because of the parents. Because there's barely anything that's there between them and the parents. And that is a serious problem. And if you're asking me to talk about that, that's another whole subject, my friend. But whatever I've said in this whole session, it does apply to parents as well. All the stuff that I've said about me, and technology, and time from the tech world and the online world, it completely applies to adults as well as it applies to children. If an adult has found themselves in a world of not being able to move away from these devices or stop it, or look, let me make it clear to you. If you're playing a game on your phone and you can't stop when you want to stop, you can't put it away, then there's something wrong with you. You're addicted, straight up. If there's an app on your phone that keeps you so busy that you just have to be with that app for so long, and so much of your time and your day and your focus, all that, and you can't stop, you can't say, well, you know what, I'm going to choose not to look at that app, then there's something wrong with you. In fact, certain things we have to control, like for example, one of the things we have to do also is control when that phone actually demands your attention. You have to control that. On my phone, I've switched off everything. Like, I have no notifications, barely, only the important ones. Like emails, I allow the email notifications to come to me straight away because I know emails are important for me. And anything like that that's really important to me, I've allowed the notification, like on the bar that it comes up and tells me that there's something that I need to give my attention to, fine. On my phone, WhatsApp and everything else give me zero notification. You can WhatsApp me all day. I don't care. I won't even see it unless I go there. Even phone, my phone 24 hours is silent. 24 hours silent. If you're ringing me, well, I'll get back to you when I have the time, when I've got my, that freedom to get back to you, fine. I'm not on a call to try and always talk, always converse. In fact, in my local masjid, there's a guy who came up to me and he said, Imam Sahib, he said, have you seen that video I sent you? I said, no. He said, why not? I said, because I blocked you. He's like, huh? Imam Sahib, you blocked me? I said, yeah, I blocked you. He said, why you blocked me for? I said, I blocked you because you're sending me a video every single day. He said, but it's one video. He goes to one video. I said, yeah, your one video you send to me every day. Okay, some video, whatever, random video that he sends, like the world news, this, that, right? Sends me one video. I said, like you, there's another 70 musallis sending me one video, everybody one video. So now I'm getting 70 videos a day. I blocked all 70 of you. Seriously, I've blocked people who send me stuff that, just constantly just coming. Come on, I've got a life. And you got to do that. You got to tell people, look, this is my limit. Don't do this. You can't add me to a group and then suddenly expect me to just stay in that group and follow you. And you can't. I've got a life. How much am I going to give? Like, okay, fine, we have a bit of social networking on these phones, but how much of my life is going to go to this compared to what I need to do for my own, for myself, for my akhirah, for my own necessity things, for my family, for my household, for my society, where I need to do a lot of things for myself. Get that, and then comes you online, whoever you are, whatever you're doing. Sorry, brother, go on quickly. You've done it, yeah? Okay.
Sadly, what we the road just to put the table.
Okay.
We have to go. We learn ourselves. What's the role of the father? What's the role of the mother? To fulfill the role of the children. What's gone wrong is, once upon a time we were allowed to of the phone. Now we've stopped. Why? Because we're not on the phone. If you're not a role model, I expect you to.
Hayyakumullah, jazakumullah khair,
We
brother.
need to look at ourselves, or we can expect young children.
Hayyakumullah, jazakumullah khair. Thank you. Is it azan time or is it a minute left? How long has it got left? 2 minutes. Somebody else? Go on. The thing is, with the earlier you start, the easier it is. The earlier you start, the moment the child is, let's say, throwing a tantrum at the age of 2, even I say younger than that, discipline starts from a very, very young age. That tantrum they're throwing, let them throw the whole tantrum. Don't give in to it. Don't give them what they wanted from the tantrum. You give in to that tantrum, you're going to have bigger tantrums when they become 12, 13, whatever. So in every single stage of their upbringing, your rules, your way of bringing them up must stay as it is, and they must not cross that. The moment they cross it, you bring them back in line. You don't, look, I'll be very honest with you, you don't even have to hit them or whatever. There's a whole thing out in this country called the timeout. Timeout meaning that you deprive them from all the niceties, extras they've got. Just deprive them from that. Say, you can't do that. You can't play the games now. You can't do this. You can't do that. There are privileges you've got in my house. You're not going to do that because you're not falling in line. Until you don't fall in line, you're not going to get these privileges back. It's a very simple way. Even the law's on your side. Now, you don't have to lay a finger or anything. But may Allah Azza wa Jal give us tawfiq. And were there any, there are no questions from the sister side. May Allah Azza wa Jal give tawfiq to us, and may Allah Azza wa Jal make us, really prepared. Because if we can't even prepare for this world right now with the smartphones, the AI world that is coming ahead with the amount of changes that are going to come is going to be something totally out of our, proportion of what we can think of. Anyway, wa akhiru da'wana, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Straighten your lines, please. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. يا الله يا حنان يا منان يا بديع السماوات والأرض يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. رب ارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.